Cool. So it all started with that slingshot.
Started with the slingshot. Started with me shooting that bird.
Yeah, I guess what that slingshot, making that slingshot and then selling it, gave you the confidence that you could do things, right? So I mean, it's a big deal because a lot of people. I remember. So I'm an engineer by trade. So my very first job was in textiles,
Okay.
and uh, I always felt that insecurity about being in textiles that I know nothing about.
Sure.
So, of course, you learn over time, and then everything is fine. But that time that it takes is when you're feeling like a little bit, on edge with anything that happens. So in your case, being able to actually create something and then sell, that confidence you gained very early, that I'm sure that it carried through, whatever
I
you
would
did.
say yes. I mean, I've never really thought about it, but realistically speaking, I guess I was lucky in that regard because, my first swing at entrepreneurship, like it wasn't a home run, but I mean, it's, I made money, right? Like, so, and so I think that's probably true because I don't think realistically, I would say I don't think there's ever been, I shouldn't say never, but for a long time, I don't think I really ever had that question of, if I start selling something, maybe it won't work. I did eventually run into that because once I stopped, well, I didn't stop. I was still selling for that other company, but I was looking for something else in the interim there. And I tried a bunch of things that they worked. I made money with basically all of it. Like I sold a book online for a while. I sold, and I guess all of it was profitable. I didn't really lose money on anything, but none of them were going to shift me from doing this job, having this business to something else. But it wasn't probably until that space when, in my mind, at least, even though I made money, there were a bunch of kind of failures in that space, where I was like, nah, I didn't really do very well with that, that I kind of, I guess, maybe started to get that impression where maybe I might fail, like might happen. But I could see easily where if the first try, and honestly, for most people, this is likely to be true, the first try, you probably are going to fail. Like you might fail 4, 5, 6 times before you succeed.
Sure.
And that's a more difficult space. And I would say that I'm lucky that that wasn't my experience, that I started with something that was successful.
Yeah. I mean, that slingshot put the wind on your back. I mean, that is a big deal. It's a great conversation about both Amazon and also your story. It's amazing to hear these.